Good morning, good morning, good morning, wherever you are. Happens to be that Island Girl is celebrating her 45th anniversary in Las Vegas. Happy anniversary, quite an accomplishment. To everyone else from Michigan, I see people all over the place, Oregon. Welcome, welcome. It's going to be an interesting show. um, it's going to be very enlightening. You're going to be enlightened like I was enlightened about a month ago. Well, look, Dennis and I have always been concerned about health. You know that. But we went to a whole new level, and I had to do this show because of that. So it's going to be very interesting and changed our life, completely changed. Everything that we thought we knew, believed, we really changed. So it's going to be awesome. Got some great stuff happening, though. Quite an announcement here. For those of you that were on the list, you got the first chapter of The Unchained Soul. The response I'm getting is through the roof. And so I'm sorry, but that's done now. So you can't get the first chapter anymore. But for those that did get that and were signed up, and there's several hundred of you, this coming Monday, you will be getting a Zoom link for 7:00 p.m. Eastern for the Zoom webinar for The Unchained Soul. Come with your questions. Please read the first chapter. We're going to discuss it, and that's that. Okay, what's next? Okay. If you look at my it's opposite here, right here, poshmark.com/closet/joy and country. So let me tell you what we did. Jenna won't be able to do it for a while. We're I don't have to go into that with you guys. Just keep her in prayer. We had a breakthrough last week. It was amazing. First step in a journey, and she's doing great. But a lot of you have written to me. Some of you have even asked, can I order this? Can I order that? For those of you that did, we're waiting on things coming in. I'm sorry it's taking so long, but just so we're okay, how can I explain this? Jenna has a lot of inventory, okay? A lot of jewelry, and a lot of clothes. Not as many clothes, mostly jewelry, but a lot of clothes too. And we have been trying to investigate, Dennis and I, about putting things up and selling what we have, at least, because we've got to have, it's quite a bit of money here and something we could use in the ministry. And so Dennis and I found Poshmark. I investigated a ton of them, and this is the best, most highly rated. Yes, they take a percentage, but that's suspected. They're in business. I don't begrudge them for that. So if we're right now in the middle, Dennis and I, of putting up all kinds of stuff. Every day you go back, there's going to be more, because we can't do it in all one day. And we're trying so hard. Jenna can't do it, so we're doing it. So if you go to poshmark.com/closet/joy and country, you're going to see a lot of the stuff that at a lesser price. You will end up paying shipping. I don't know how they figure it, but they do it all. And we will be shipping it to you, like what we have here. I mean, I've got, necklaces and earrings and, got all kinds of stuff that's happening here. And everybody keeps asking and asking. And this is the only way I could figure out to do it. So anyway, for now, we will. Yes, Mary, God provides a way. He really did. This just kind of fell on me. So please post it. Oh, it's already posted. Okay, Karen, thank you. And please share it with anyone that maybe is interested in things like that. And also go back every day, because every day we're putting up, after this, I'm spending a couple of hours and putting new stuff up. And Dennis is doing it as well. So anyway, that's the big announcement. I will announce it again Friday and on Sunday so that people understand. Now, once this stuff is gone, maybe Joy and Country will be back, maybe it won't. I don't know. Every day you just don't know what the next day holds. That's why the Bible says you got enough trouble today. Don't worry about tomorrow. So anyway, that's that. Now, this topic, let's go right into the topic. I got a lot to cover. When I came up with that title, The People That Forgot to Die, it's very, very, very true. I've discovered since Sunday on Solomon's Porch to today, and then over the past couple of months, that heart, food, faith, they just go together. I'm going to talk to you about the world's longest living people. And they're in several areas around the world, but I'm going to concentrate on Sardinia, which is an island, a part of Italy, an island off of, like Hawaii is to us, Sardinia is to Italy. We've talked about every part of us being attacked, spirit, soul, and body. But today, I want to flip it around. We got chemtrails, we got this, we got that, pesticides, blah, 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 blah. So today, I want to flip it. I kind of want to flip the script. And I want, instead of saying what makes us sick, I want to talk about what makes us stay well, what heals us. Now, I can't say that this heals or that heals, but what it does is it brings your body. See, God designed our body to heal itself. So if you give our body the right environment, it will seek health. That's what it does. Now, I don't mean, go buy an $89 bottle of something. Even LifeWave patches, they are a tool that has aided us and really helped us. If you're interested in that, what is it? Go to takingbackourhealth.com and write to me. We'll jump on the phone. But today's not about that. But that's a tool. There are some supplements that are tools that help us. But if you think you're going to buy a bottle of supplements and the bottle says you will live, you take this and you will live to be 120, it doesn't work like that. Even the LifeWave patch, I always profess 120. But if you live on Doritos and processed foods, that LifeWave patch is not God. It's a godsend, but it's not God. And it's not going to bring you to 120 just because you put it on. So how we eat. I'm going to talk about ordinary things. How we eat, how we breathe, how we think, how we handle stress, how much we move. Who do we spend our lives with? How do we spend our lives? How much purpose do we have when we wake up in the morning? I was just talking to Dennis about this over a cup of tea this morning. Purpose. When you have purpose, you're up, you're at it. You got something you're going to do. That purpose, God-given purpose, is probably one of the most important things that you can have in your life. But researchers have discovered that there are areas and certain people that live the longest on Earth. When they went to where what's interesting, let me just say this. The whole island of Sardinia has very high age. They have longevity. But one area in the mountains, almost everyone that is aged lives well into their 90s or well over 100. One of them was just doing a YouTube. It's 118 years old. What they found when they went is they're living, they're cooking, they're walking, they're talking, they're laughing, they're eating with other people, they're growing things, they're connected to community. And most of them, the highest majority of them, I think it's like 98.9, are connected to faith. Now, here are the 5 regions. They call them the blue zones. Okinawa, Japan, home to the world's longest lived woman, which isn't necessarily correct now. This is probably old. I think she was 117. Sardinia beat her by 1 year. Sardinia, Italy, a mountain region with the highest concentration of male centurions as well. Across the world, men have shorter lives than women. And in Sardinia, that's not true. It's very similar. Nicoya Peninsula, Costa Rica. Residents have a high rate of reaching age 90 and beyond, well beyond, with low middle-age mortality. Icaria, Greece, very low rates of heart disease and dementia. Now, you can look into these places, almost zero dementia. Okay. And I'm going to talk about Greece later. Just a little bit. I'm going to explain something to you that we're using now. And then the most interesting one that I touch on is Loma Linda, California. This is most of that town in California. It's in San Bernardino County, are Seventh-day Adventists. Now, whether you agree with them or not doesn't matter. They're people of faith. They're people of faith. They outlive the average American by a decade. So let's talk about Loma Linda for a second. Loma Linda is actually one of the most polluted areas in the entire country. It is actually one of the most polluted areas in California. And California is polluted big time. That's why I wouldn't move there, Esther. Big time. When we lived there, just imagine this. Imagine this is an outdoor table, glass table for outside on our porch. Okay, we lived on the second floor. And on this, every day, Dennis and or I would go out there with paper towels and Windex and spray it and wipe it. And the Windex was black. I mean, the paper towel was black. The whole paper towel was black. One day. So here they are in Loma Linda, San Bernardino County, way inland, I think 40, 50 miles east of Los Angeles. And because of the pollution, you would think people would die sooner. Not in Loma Linda. So I'm going to tell you what they do. They have a strict 24-hour Sabbath. From Friday evening to Saturday evening, residents unplug everything. Phone, computer, unplug. No work, no chores, no stressors. They dedicate time to family, church community. They walk. They go through nature. They downshift is what they do. Now, what's their diet? Strict vegetarian or vegan. Heavily emphasize whole grains, fresh fruits, legumes, nuts, all organic. They eat nuts at least 5 times a week. And it's been shown to lower their heart disease risk and add 2 years to their lives just for having all those nuts, different kinds of nuts. The community avoids smoking, drugs, alcohol, tries to avoid all pharmaceuticals. In 1993, Loma Linda became the first smoke-free city in California. Hydration habit. They drink 5 or 6 glasses of pure water a day, and they make sure they do. And they know that that lowers your risk of fatal heart attacks from 60 to 70%. Many practice eating a large breakfast, a moderate lunch, and a light dinner to avoid sleeping on a heavy stomach. So that's Loma Linda. But let's go into the other blue zones. These are what they all have in common. These things are all doable, guys. They're all doable. Even if you can't afford organic, you can dip your vegetables in vinegar and water, in baking soda in water, and then rinse them off. Let them soak there for a minute and then rinse them off. Your fruit the same way. Peel your fruit if you can't afford organic. But so let me continue. Here's key facts about blue zones. Plant slant diet. 95% of their food comes from plants, with heavy reliance on beans, lentils, whole grains, and garden vegetables. Meat, and mostly fish or chicken, is eaten maybe once a week. On holidays, they have beef. In their natural combinations of beans, legumes, grains, there's complete protein. I actually make a bread now called Ezekiel bread. We grind our own mill, we mill our own flour, we mill our own, that's in there. Spelt is in there, millet is in there, barley, and it's not exactly the one in the store at all. It's called Ezekiel bread. It's taken from Ezekiel, the chapter Ezekiel, where he lived on this bread. It has complete protein and has every amino acid in it. Natural movement. Instead of going to the gym, residents live in environments that kind of, scooch them, nudge them to move more. They garden, they walk, they farm. They do manual labor as part of life, whether it's in the house, out of the house. And then the 80% rule, people in regions like Okinawa and Sardinia stop eating when they're 80% full, preventing overeating. I've actually started doing that. It's funny, I'm losing weight. Not trying to lose weight at all. They have a sense of purpose, a clear reason for waking up in the morning. And it isn't to watch the newest, drops on people's channels. We really got to get this. Look, if you don't want to die young, and to me, 60s, 70s, even 80s is young. When you think about if you look in the perspective of these people, stress downshifting. They do daily routines to shed stress. And they pray, they nap, they talk with their family, they build friendships in their community with their neighbors. But today, I really want to cover Sardinia, Italy. We've been looking at Italy a lot. We've been watching a lot of longevity YouTubes on Sardinia, Italy, and how people live long. Fascinating, by the way. You really need to do that if you're interested in this. How they eat, how they live, their community, how they live up to and past 100, and it grabs your attention. And the Blue Zone diet, which is what we're following, is very similar to the Mediterranean diet. We're going to talk about olive oil and how olive oil, all of them are not created equally. Talk about something called polyphenols. We're going to talk about sauna. We're going to talk about grinding your own wheat and making bread, which is one of the most satisfying things I do. I make it every other day. I make a loaf of bread. I use hard white wheat and I use barley. That's what Dennis loves. Tiny bit of honey, olive oil, salt. Takes me, I work in between. It's just amazing. I'm also going to touch on heart math a little bit. If you were on Solomon's Porch, I spoke about that. We will discuss what science actually tells us about the connection between our breathing, our nervous system, our heart rhythms, our emotional state. And then I'm going to bring it right back to scripture because it all goes back to scripture. It's amazing. These people have no idea. Maybe they do. It's like David Schmidt with LifeWave. He knows where his downloads come from. Maybe these people do as well. Maybe the people who've been studying heart math for decades know it. God cares about the whole person, body, mind, spirit, relationships, food, rest, peace, all of it. Okay, so who are the people that forgot to die? Like I said, let's go to Sardinia. Where is Sardinia? It's a little island, part of Italy, in the Mediterranean, right off of the center, maybe center a little bit above, and then you go a little north, you go west, that's Sardinia. It became one of the original places called the Blue Zone. And blue zones, like I said, are areas around the world with the highest longevity. If you go there and you see someone and you say, oh, how old are you? It's not shocking to have someone say, oh, I'm 105. And they're in their garden and they're cooking. It's not 105 and you're like this, the crypt keeper. It's 105, a productive 105. Like I said, there's a woman in Sardinia that's 118 years old. She's still living. So it's very important. What are these people doing? And here's where Americans get ourselves in trouble because we immediately want to identify the thing. What supplement did they take? What mushroom? What powder? And I learned myself. It's not one thing. It's everything. It's lifestyle. It's faith. It's eating well. So researchers, what they find is there's a pattern of life. Typically, these communities, these blue zones, have strong family structures. I don't think that they spend a lot of time arguing with who was going to take this in 2020 and who wasn't, and how I hate you if you did, and I hate you if you didn't, and if you did, you're all going to die, and if you didn't, you're just stupid. I have a feeling, just a hunch, that they didn't do that. I have a feeling that they don't spend their life waiting for every prophet to give them a word so they can feel good. I have a feeling that they don't get tickled by everything that someone does in the world and dwell on it. Just a thought, maybe. I got a feeling. I don't really know what's going on in the world. I really don't. Man, do I know what's going on in the kingdom. I don't really know what's going on in the world. One of my kids had to send me today Greenwise, which is an organic food, organic label, that the frozen blueberries have E. coli in them. I went, oh, well, I don't eat frozen blueberries, so I guess that's okay. But I looked at Dennis and I said, I don't know what's going on. Now, if I hear something or I get triggered like the gold thing, that's a basic human thing in our life. But I'm not going to get triggered by things because most of those things are fake. Most of those words are fake. Most of what you see is fake. So I want to concentrate on what's real. For the people who live in Sardinia, they don't go to the gym. This 118-year-old woman is not a member of Gold's Gym or Planet, whatever it is. They are in their garden. They take a walk with their grandchild. A lot of daily movement. For them, walking isn't so much exercise, but it's transportation. Going up a mountain isn't like, oh, I'm going to climb the mountain because it's leg day. No, they climb the mountain because they may have a garden up there, or they've got to get to town and they live below town. What do they eat, really? They eat traditional foods. I already said it. Beans and legumes. Most do not come out of a can. I no longer use canned beans. I now buy them dry. I soak them, and then I cook them, and then I freeze them after they're cooled off in Ziploc bags, the good ones, not the no BPA, and in Ziploc bags, and I freeze them. We bought a little freezer, little one. And that's what we do. Fava beans, borlotti beans. You get these all online. Organic. You can get them on Amazon. Don't tell me you can't spend the money. The beans you buy will make 20 meals. Olive oil, whole grains, traditional breads, nuts, some dairy, very little meat. And traditionally, nowhere near the quantity and quality typical of a modern Western diet. Let's talk about how the blue zone / Mediterranean diet really isn't a diet. You know, we've turned that word into something miserable. Oh, I got to go on a diet. Oh, what diet are you on? Oh, I lost 10 pounds on this diet. I'm on a keto. I'm on this. I'm on that. When someone says diet in America, we think, what am I not allowed to eat? I don't want to go on that diet. Mediterranean eating is almost the opposite. It's an abundance of real food, vegetables, fruit, beans, lentils. I'm going to keep saying it, guys. I'm going to say it again. So you should probably write it down. Vegetables, fruit, beans, lentils, all kinds of beans, whole grains, nuts, seeds, herbs, olive oil. I'm going to talk about that all by itself in a minute. And 0 unprocessed foods, ultra processed foods, 0. You see, people don't look at the Sardinians and say, wow, they look healthy. No, their heart attack rate is almost 0. Almost 0 dementia. They don't even get to, like, they don't have a cardiovascular risk. But wait, why is that? One thing is extra virgin olive oil. Now I'm going to talk to you about What's up with olive oil? There's olive oil, and then there's olive oil. My dad grew up on an olive farm in Calabria, Italy. They made olive oil. Needless to say, when a big pot of greens, we used to call it manast, with potatoes and beans, cannellini beans, this is how I ate. And they lived almost to 100. I was after many years, my brother's nearly 2 decades older than me. My mom, I was a middle of life baby. My mom had a business at 95. This is how we ate. She would take the olive oil, okay, the good olive oil, and I'm going to tell you about it because not olive oil is the same. She would drizzle it like this over the entire plate that she put in the middle of the table of manast. Greens, dandelion greens, escarole. Dennis didn't know what the word escarole was until he met me. I want to tell you about a word that's very important. It's polyphenol. They're naturally occurring plant compounds. What it does for you is like miracle, okay? Olives produce a number of them, including a compound related to hydroxytyrosol. So why do we care about that? Because these substances have so much antioxidant power and biological activity happens in the food that one study gave 200 men high polyphenol olive oil, and their health, their cholesterol, their heart, their CBC in a matter of months reversed. So, as high polyphenol content increased, lower markers of cholesterol, LDL, better effects on HDL, it all controlled. These are controlled research studies. So what they concluded, that polyphenol-rich olive oil, at least 500 milligrams, okay? At least. We have one with 500 to 600 milligrams we like. It's called Papa. Oh, Den, help me. Papa what? Can you text me? And then the other one too. I'm going to tell you both of them, guys. Really important. Papa something. That's my favorite. Okay. The other one is Dennis's favorite, and that has 1,000 milligrams of polyphenol. Now, I'm going to look at Donna Russell right now. Girl, I'm telling you, for you and Mike, get on Amazon today. I'm going to tell you which ones they are. You know, I always steer you right. I've been doing this for decades. Get on it. Use it. That's for everyone. But Donna, she's Donna. So I gotta make sure she knows. Dennis, you doing it for me, baby? I hope both of them. Just bring them both in here. I want to show the bottles. I've investigated every single olive oil known to man. And these are the two that are the best, okay? I'm not trying to do this to, I don't get any money off this, guys, so don't think I do. It's Papa Vince, okay? Papa Vince, 100% extra virgin olive oil. Cold press, single origin, Sicily, Italy. Lab tested polyphenol and hydroxytyrosol content. Okay, they even give you the date. This was an early harvest in 2025, and it's best used before 2029. And the polyphenol count is well over 500, and it can hit as high as 600. Let me see where it says that. I want you guys to. Well, anyway, Papa Vince. Now, this is Dennis's favorite, and this is Greek. Greeks are very big on olive oil. That's why in Greece they have a very high longevity. Olivia, okay? This is Olivia extra virgin olive oil. Cold pressed, ultra high phenolic. Now, it's organic early harvest. Greater than 1,000 milligrams of polyphenols. You get this, Donna? You got this. You got this, Donna. Both of these are available on Amazon. Very expensive, very worth it. Very worth it. Now, what do we do with that? We don't cook with that. We get the biggest, the best, but less money, because we can't afford to cook. If we're sauteing vegetables or something, I can't afford to cook with that. So we use a really good extra virgin, organic olive oil. And it's a little bit more expensive, but not as expensive. And we use that to cook with. We don't really fry anything. It's more like sauteing the onion, celery, garlic, and carrots before I make a pot of fava bean stew or something like that. I saute that. And so you use that. But you take one of these after you've cooked that or pasta or anything. I make my own pasta. And you literally pour it on your dish. You should have several tablespoons of that olive oil a day. Dennis gets up in the morning and takes a tablespoon of this. Now, let me tell you something about these. Very peppery. You're going to feel the pepper in the back of your throat. If you take your olive oil that you use now and you don't feel any pepper, it got nothing, baby. That's just a oil is what it is. And great, finish it up, but don't use it again. Okay. Just make sure if you don't get those, they have high polyphenols, at least 500 milligrams. Okay. And a harvest date. Look, if it's harvested in 2024, that's not a problem. And I know this because my dad would tell me how to harvest olives, because he grew up he was the oldest of 11 kids on an olive farm. So if it says 2024, 2025, that's not a problem. That's where it was harvested. So there's a lot of things. They dry them. They do all kinds of stuff. So it's very important. But remember that it has to be in a dark bottle. Okay. See, this is good until May 18th, 2027. This is a dark bottle as well. Don't put it near your stove. I don't care how cute this Papa Vince's bottle is going to look near your stove. The heat will lower the polyphenols. Blessed PJM, I had them on my Amazon page. Please, I don't do that anymore. Please remind me to tell you, please, someone, Esther, Karen, Cindy, to talk about the Amazon page. So I want to explain that, what happened. Okay. I did have them on there. I'm not doing that anymore. There's a reason for it. So, okay. There's the, make sure it's a dark bottle. Now, it is slightly bitter. I said that it is peppery. You're going to feel it in the back of your throat. That is the polyphenols. Heat, oxygen, and light. Don't leave the bottle open. Put it back on tight, okay? Oxygen is not its friend. Heat, light. I don't even want to put these, Dennis, maybe you can come back and get them. I don't even want to leave them in the light here. I want them because we put them in our pantry and it's dark in there, okay? Now, don't be afraid of olive oil because it's a fat. The Blue Zone diet is not a low-fat diet. It's the source of fat that matters. Now, let me just take a real quick flip, okay? Milling your own wheat. You can get a very inexpensive mill on Amazon, on TikTok, on a lot of different places. We got, because I make bread every day, every other day, we got a little bit more expensive. It's an automatic. It's like got a motor. Some of them you could just crank with your hand, whatever. But think about that, okay? What is interesting is I think of the Proverbs woman, and, it says she's up, rises before her family. I know why. Because you're milling flour. You are boiling your beans that you soaked overnight. There is someone, Rachel Butler, yeah, you can use a coffee grinder as a small mill. Absolutely. You just have to make sure that the flour, Rachel, is very fine, like you would get in a bag of flour. So you can buy wheat berries everywhere. And I think you'll find your place. Like, I like the Ezekiel bread. If you want that recipe, I can probably post it. Okay. Maybe I'll post it on social media today. I just got to remember. We buy the wheat berries. We put them in it. We mill everything. We date it. And then we freeze it. Okay. And we take it out as I make bread. And that's how I do it. Remember, the wheat kernel of wheat that is milled has the wheat germ, the wheat brand, and the endosperm intact. See, Ezekiel knew he could live on his bread that he made. And I've got the bread. I make the bread. The only thing I do is I add yeast. He didn't add yeast. He had was more like a pita. Okay, I'm sure. But he lived on it for a year. It was very healthy. I'm going to go into a little bit of that in a second, but I want you to hear this, okay? When you eat the total grain of wheat, you normally don't have a gluten issue, because I was gluten-free. When you eat fresh milled, like there are people that have gluten allergies and they go to Europe and they can eat the bread. Why? Well, I'm eating all kinds of bread now. I'm eating bread. My homemade half wheat, half barley bread. You're eating the whole grain. That's what you're supposed to digest. You're getting the whole thing instead of just a refined starchy portion. Look, I'm not expecting everybody to make their own bread, but if you can, it is well worth it. You will feel like a different person. You'll feel different. After, this is about a month now we're doing this, we feel very different. A 2023 analysis, found that higher long-term whole grain intake was associated with low cardiovascular mortality. 10 grams of whole grain per day. Cut it almost 50%. Can you imagine? As well as rectal cancer, type 2 diabetes, and heart disease. Now, I found no evidence that says if you don't mill your wheat 5 minutes before making bread, you're missing some miraculous health property. And I looked it up. So if you're milling, mill it and freeze it. Don't get jammed up. Commercial whole wheat flour can still be nutritious. Just make sure it has the whole grain. But milling your own does some practical things like you know what's in it. You can use the entire grain. You control any additives that you don't even know. You can choose the wheat you want. It's fresh. And I'll tell you, there's something wonderful about actually making food again. I'm really loving it. I'm loving it. Yeah, you could buy a bread maker. Janet Campbell just bought a bread maker, Donna. Yeah, get a bread maker. I love kneading. I love, I got a KitchenAid, does a lot of the kneading for me, but I love, I just love that stuff. It just, I don't know, it brings something warm and fuzzy to me that I needed. But let's just jump to Daniel 1:5-16 for a second, okay? Nebuchadnezzar ordered Daniel and the other young men being trained for the king's service to receive food and wine from the king's table. Daniel refused. Daniel 1:8 says, Daniel purposed in his heart he would not defile himself with the portion of the king's meat, nor with the wine, which he drank. He then said, I'm going to do a 10-day test. So Daniel 1:12 says, prove thy servants, I beseech thee, 10 days, and let them give us pulse to eat and water to drink. Now, the word pulse is important. It's the Hebrew word is zerum, and it's derived from the idea of things that are sown or grown from seed. So it wasn't just one thing. It was beans, it was grains, it was seed, things that come out of a seed. Vegetables, legumes. So Daniel chose water rather than the king's wine. And then it's Daniel 1:15 says, at the end of 10 days, their countenances appeared fairer and fatter in flesh. Now, that doesn't mean they gained weight. It actually means there was a sense of fullness and glow, like if women use hyaluronic acid. You know what I mean? It's supposed to fill in your spots. It was like a natural hyaluronic acid. And it says, it was fatter in flesh than all the children which did eat the portion of the king's meat. Then verse 16 says, the steward continued giving them their plant foods instead of the king's provision because they were doing more work and they were working harder. So now let's compare that with blue zone eating. Okay, Daniel, foods grown from seed. Blue zones, beans, lentils, vegetables, whole grains, nuts, seeds. Daniel, water, blue zones. Daniel, water, blue zones. No reliance at all on anything other than fresh juices and pure water. Daniel rejects continual rich royal food. Blue zones, traditionally no processed foods and relatively modest, only on special occasions, meat consumption, if at all. Daniel, simplicity. Blue zones, simplicity, minimally processed, traditional meals. Sardinia, specifically, historically, includes whole grain breads, beans, vegetables, all kinds of nuts, high polyphenol olive oil, and other traditional Mediterranean foods. Some of that being cheese, not gorging on cheese, a minimal amount of cheese, but there's a lot of a lot of saturated fats. So you got to be careful. If you have high cholesterol, you've got to eliminate. And let me tell you something else. Coconut milk, one of the highest saturated fat substances. So if you're eating cheese and you're drinking coconut milk and you think you're doing well for yourself, and then you go and your cholesterol's 280, bingo. So just be aware. Just be aware. Okay, so I think it's interesting that for thousands of years, nobody ever coined the phrase blue zone. Daniel describes it. He took that instead of, and it's a very interesting thing how it happened. Okay. I forget the man's name. Oh, I wanted to plug him too, because he's really amazing. If you go on and put the creator of the Blue Zones, wow, guy really knows what he's doing. I'm trying to get him on here, actually. But this is what he did. He took a map around the world and he studied. I'm talking about decades. And he had a blue, big, the markers you have in school with the big round tip. And what he did is he checked off the places that had longevity. And it was those places I gave you. And he put a blue mark. And what he did is, okay, up in the mountains, there it is. And he put another one there. And he put another one there. And then there was nothing for hundreds of miles around. And so he started calling them blue zones. And it caught on. So, look, Daniel purposed in his heart, Daniel 1:8 said. Before Daniel changed what went on into his body, something happened in his heart. So let's quickly shift from blue zone to heart math. So if you heard it on Solomon's Porch, you understand. Heart math is a system developed by the Heart Math Institute. Over decades, they've been looking at this. That uses breathing, focused attention, emotional self-regulation. Very important to regulate ourselves emotionally. That's why I always say to you, don't let yourself get involved. Don't start answering people and tell them God loves them. My God. That's all. And what it is it measures real-time heart rate variability, HRV, which is biofeedback. Now, heart rate variability is really wild when you think about it, because what it is if your heart beats and goes beep, beep, that little space in between that beep and that beep is your heart rate variability, okay? The higher it is, the healthier you are. Now, it lowers as you get older. A 20-year-old will have an 80 and maybe a 70-year-old will have a 35 or a 40. That's what it does. Now, it doesn't, heart rate variability doesn't mean your heart is behaving badly, okay? It's just the measurement of that tiny amount in between heartbeats, because your heart doesn't beat like a metronome. That's why if a doctor listens to your heart, he doesn't go, oh, okay, yep, you're good. He listens a bit, because it doesn't, every heart is, there's somewhat of a rhythm, but because we know about the heart rate variability now, which is the beat, the lack of the beat in between beats, we know now that every heartbeat is not consistent. It's not a metronome. Now, heart math calls that coherence. What they do is they pay attention to the chest, your heart area here, and how it slowly, quickly, rhythmically, it would beat. And they found that when you have fear, it changes your HRV. But when you have emotions like gratitude, appreciation, compassion, it raises your HRV. HRV is wild, man. Basically, if you are stressed, this is just basic now. This isn't like this is going to change your life. If you breathe, inhale for 5 seconds, and then exhale 5 seconds, that will raise your HRV. Do that for 3 minutes every few hours. You won't believe how it will change your life. More than 200 studies found that voluntary slow breathing increased your HRV. And then it becomes lasting. The higher your HRV, the healthier you are. That breathing stimulates the parasympathetic side of your autonomic nervous system. My God, somebody said to me I should write a book. I probably should. I've learned so much about this stuff now. I really have. I wish I learned about it 10 years ago. I really do. That's the fight or flight part, okay? Breathing exercises like that influence blood pressure. They influence your heart rate. They influence your digestion, your stress level. Sometimes something as simple as changing the way you breathe can measurably change aspects of your nervous system activity and your bodily health more than you could ever imagine. Now, when you're breathing, add an emotion. Gratitude to God. Thankfulness. What you will feel, there will be a shift in your body, in your heart, and in your mind. You keep doing this, your personality will change. You guys write to me and say, Delora, I see a difference in you from a year ago to now. This is what I do, guys. These are the breathing exercises I do. I got an Apple Watch just so it could remind me. Breathe for 3 minutes. I stop. I breathe. Think about this. Did you ever receive a frightening phone call? Nothing physically touched you. Nobody injected you with anything. But your heart pounds. Your mouth gets dry. Your stomach gets sick. Your muscles tighten. You might even hyperventilate because a thought. Guys, get this, get this, get this for all of you that are watching all these people. Oh my God, I want to take you all and smack you upside of your head. You're watching all these people. These thoughts are going through your brain. You're getting frightened. You get feared. Your heart's beating. You're decreasing your life. Don't listen to me. I've been beating this drum now for about 6 months. I've been beating this drum for 6 months. I want to tell you something for all those that didn't get this in the arm. There are people that did get this and doing what I say and are healthier than you that didn't get this. So don't go pointing a finger. I didn't get it. I don't believe in it. But this is something that people have to get it. Okay? You got to get it. Yeah, I get it. Yeah. Okay. Breathe. Breathe. See, I tell myself, and when I get impassioned, things like this, that I'm trying to save people. I really am. If you knew my heart, if you could climb inside my chest, that's my biggest thing in my life. I was put on earth to aid others. I really believe that. So please go back, listen to this again. Try to chillax. Yeah, this is a good emotion though. A thought, okay, can cause a really serious physiological reaction. So why would we not assume that peaceful thoughts, gratitude, prayer, love wouldn't have a physiological effect? Of course it would. HeartMath proved it. Emotional states and physiological states interact completely. We spend enormous amounts of money trying to change our bodies, yet our emotions, you're always pointing the finger at somebody. What's wrong with them? What's wrong with them? I don't care what you do with your body. I don't care what you eat. If you've got that attitude, you're never going to be healthy. Something will come upon you because that is affecting your body. I always said in this book, the body keeps the score. Not a Christian book. Very hard reading, but it says it better than anything I've ever read. So what emotional state do you live in? Fear, anger, resentment, urgency? Oh, the sky's falling in. People are going to die all over the place. Oh, you got to do this before. Oh, God, shut up. That's what I want to say to these people. Just shut up. Constant news, constant outrage, constant stimulation. I unplugged. Eventually, the body has to live wherever the mind keeps taking it. Then I went back to the Bible after reading about heart math. And this is where it became really just beautiful for me. Scripture does not teach heart math. And I'm not trying to stick a Bible verse on every scientific theory and call it biblical, but doesn't it seem to be that way? Proverbs 4:23 says, keep thy heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. Guard your heart. Why? Why should you guard your heart? Because what lives there eventually flows out of your mouth and into your body. Proverbs 17:22, a merry heart does good like medicine, but a broken spirit dries the bones. My mom and dad never had a bone issue. Never. They had their life, their garden. Thousands of years before anybody measured heart rate variability, Scripture acknowledged that emotional well-being and physical existence are very interchangeable and are not separate worlds. Now listen to Philippians 4. Paul tells people who are dealing with real pressure, don't live consumed by anxiety. Bring your requests to God with thanksgiving. That means thank God first. Get in a grateful posture and then beseech God. Whoever thinks on these things are true, honest, just, pure, lovely, of good report. Oh, think on these things? Oh, I shouldn't think on the new prophet that just popped up. Oh, I shouldn't think on what's going on in Ukraine. Oh, okay. Now, I'm not saying I am not completely like oblivious to what's happening in the world. I'll glance at things. I have certain places I'll look and see, but that is this much of my life. When something hits me, I'll bring it to you. Then I know it's from God. Otherwise, no. So, prayer, gratitude, peace. Paul is teaching people how to redirect their lives. Psalm 46, be still and know that I am God. We might be, actually, as I'm thinking, the first civilization in our generation that has totally eliminated stillness. We wake up, what do? We're on our phone. Grab a phone, drive with noise, eat with the TV. I am so guilty of that. Stand in line and scroll. Lie in bed and scroll. Sitting on a toilet, we scroll. Stop doing those things. Stop doing them. Do you know what's funny? And it's a thing that happens in our home now, almost every day. I lose my phone. I say, Dennis, where's my phone? Please call it. My ringer doesn't work. It's an old phone. I'm not going to get a new phone. So my ringer doesn't work, but we're hoping we hear a vibration because I don't carry my phone around with me. We don't. I don't do it. Don't do it. No more. Now, last thing I'm going to hit on is sauna. Okay. I'm going to leave Sardinia just for a second. Move north to Finland. We're going to go to Finland because I want to talk about the sauna. Okay. And no, I'm not going to tell you it's the answer for all your ills, but boy, it can help. There was a Finnish study. Okay. I want you to know it's very important. 2,300 middle-aged men, and they middle-aged, and an average of 20 years between them. So I think it was between like 35 and 55, that kind of age. And what they did is they compared men who used a sauna once a week with those who used it 2 or 3 times a week. Now, I'm not talking about the hot sauna with the hot rocks and all that. I'm talking about the saunas they have today, like Perspire, where you go in and you have your own room and it's dry heat and it's red light. It's that red light sauna. Okay. Now, if you can't afford it, I get it. But I got to tell you the things. I got it in case you can. The men who were in the sauna, 4 to 5 sauna sessions per week, had substantially lower rates of cardiac death, cardiovascular disease, and overall mortality. For sudden cardiac death and stroke, 63% lower risk by using a sauna at least 4 times a week. Detoxes heavy metals. Sadly, it doesn't do a good job to detox pesticides. I know that personally. Frequent sauna bathing lowers inflammatory markers like a C-reactive protein. What happens in a sauna? Heat causes blood vessels to dilate, our heart rate rises, and circulation changes. Now, you know what it's like, actually? It's like doing moderate exercise is what it is. And the cardiovascular system responds and it tries to cool you. And so this whole recovery process happens. And when it does, it's an incredible form of detoxing and beneficial physiological stress to get rid of that. But I'm going to try to wind down here. Oh my God, it's 1:08. I'll tell you, between this and God, it's like the biggest thing in my life right now. I put all this together. Let me just go over it again. Look at the pattern. Real food, whole foods, olive oil, high polyphenols, plants, beans, more beans, fava beans, and black beans, cannellini beans, Bortello beans. Those are strawberry beans, kidney beans, fava beans. My father made for me my whole life, fava beans. I now make a fava bean stew. Okay. Buy them dried, soak them. Last night we had lentil. It's a lentil soup with all kinds of stuff in it. This is how we're eating, guys. Okay. Take a homemade piece of bread, pour olive oil on it, have it with your stew. They live a long time. Look at their breathing. Look at their diet. Look at their sleep. Work followed by recovery. Heart math. Gratefulness. Thankfulness. Maybe our bodies were never designed to live in a full throttle speed every minute of our life. What else did I tell you about today? Olive oil, high polyphenol. Let me show it again. He never came and picked them up. So Papa Vince, screenshot it if you want. Papa Vince, I'm going to leave it there for a second. Olivia, screenshot it if you want. This has over 1,000 milligrams. It's a little bit strong for me. I'm a Papa Vince girl. Over 500. I do use this in the itself. I'll add it to the stew, whatever itself, but I can't drizzle it over my stuff because it's just it's a real peppery because of the high polyphenols. Eat more vegetables, eat more beans, choose whole grains, maybe sauna if it's appropriate for you and you can do it. Work on heart math. Try slow breathing. Try breathing when you're in bed at night and do 3 minutes of slow breathing. Don't forget to eat dinner. Don't forget to eat lunch. Try only to eat when you're hungry. Laugh. Watch Lucy. Go outside, pray, be grateful. Find a purpose bigger than yourself. Maybe learn to bake bread. It's so rewarding. Maybe the lesson coming out of these blue zone communities is not how not to die. Maybe the lesson is, here's how to live while you're still alive. And I got to say one more scripture and then I'm pretty much done. John 10:10. Jesus said, I come that you might have life and have it more abundantly. You know what that says to me? Take care of your body. Renew your mind. Guard your heart. Love people. I don't care who they are. Walk with God. And maybe, just maybe, when we begin putting these things back together, our bodies will like it too. Maybe we've made health so complicated that we've forgotten the simple things. Daniel purposed in his heart, and his choices followed. Thousands of years later, we're spending billions of dollars trying to rediscover what's in the pages of this book right here. This book. We're still trying to discover it, okay? It's right here. How to manage stress, move our bodies. What to eat. Daniel diet. Proverbs 4:23. This is the Message translation. I had to use it. Keep vigilant watch over your heart, because that's where life starts. So that's it, guys. I am so sorry that I did not get to take questions. I didn't get to read your comments. Yeah, okay. I see that bread recipe. I'm making granola today. Okay, thank you, Cindy. The Amazon situation. Okay, so let me tell you what happened with Amazon. I thought it was going to be an answer for us. Thank you, Esther. I thought it was going to be an answer for us. It is not. Here's what happened. Unless I do, and I didn't know this going into it, that's why it was only up one day. Unless I go and I review and give an opinion on all of the products, some of the products I bought and everything, they give you like 2 or 3% of the sales. And I looked at Dennis and I said, I'm not going to ask our community to go and buy stuff that I post and spend their hard-earned money thinking they're helping us in a big way, and they're helping us not hardly at all. So I couldn't do it. So for me now, what I'm doing is poshmark.com/closet/join country. Okay. That's not anything new. That is the inventory we have that I would like to turn into money. So it's still there. Will it still help? I guess if you find it and you buy, and if you have to buy something on Amazon and you buy through me, great, because you can buy anything anywhere on Amazon and I'll still get paid. So if you want to do that, yeah. I mean, Karen, you can, if you post that on both on Rumble and YouTube, but don't go there just to buy something from me. Okay. If you go through the link, and you end up, buying something, and then, I'll get 3% or something. But with Poshmark, what's happening is they take a percentage. I believe it's 15 or 20%. Dennis would know better than me. He's the finance guy. And Cindy just said I signed up easy. And so if you do it that way, you will get something. Okay. But Poshmark takes a percentage because they're hosting us, which is fair. So if you go to poshmark.com/closet/joy in country, that's our joy in country inventory we have left. Very small amount. We've got so much stuff to post. So go back every single day if you want. And if you find stuff that you want from our inventory, then, I'm doing things like this, these earrings. I got to post those now. I get, all of these things. So Dennis and I are doing it. Yeah, Esther, I do too. I might do but I like to do TikTok. She says, I missed the TikTok with you. I like to do that on the fly. You know what I mean? And just have fun. So maybe I'll do that. I don't know. Checked out Postmark. Great inventory. Thanks, Mary. That's a tenth of it. I don't know, a fifth of it. And a Peg. Jenna is doing well in a recovery phase. And, she's following the lead in God. And I that's all I can do is pray for her and respect that and support her. We helped her, helping Richie, who doesn't really know how to cook. And so there's all of that going on. But what a doll he is. He's so supportive of his wife. Just two beautiful people. They are two beautiful people. And God is going to be very faithful to our daughter. He already is. He already did her a solid already. So we're waiting and we'll after we're back by the whole thing, we'll catch all you guys up. Look at 118. Stop it. I'm still talking. All right, guys. Those of you that signed up, I'll see you Monday. For those of you that didn't sign up, I'll see you Friday. Plus people around the table. Should be a good one. I think the whole crew is going to be there. And then Solomon's Porch. Love you guys. When can we order your bread? Don't even start, Island Girl. Don't even start. Okay? I know you people. You're funny. I don't know. I was talking about writing another book. I'm a writer. I'm itchy. So maybe I'll do this. Who knows? A book about health from someone who is seeking it. How about that? That's funny. All right. Love you guys. Love you. I will see you Friday. And from now until then, go in the power of God. Enjoy your life. Love God. Love those around you. I'll see you on Friday. Ciao.